this. Sea of Roses has progressed with each start, and Lambada also. She's the last one to go forward for the Tattersalls Musadora Stakes. Let's join Mike Cattermole. He has the call.
And they're off. And Gather Your Rosebuds was just a little bit slowly away there, just manoeuvred wider as they moved through the first furlong of a fascinating renewal of the Tattersalls Musadora Stakes, this Group 3 contest with Infinite Cosmos, one amongst the early pace setters. In fact, just the overall leader from Novakai on the inside rail there, just restrained. Gather Your Rosebuds is on the outside, disputing second with the yellow jacket of Novakai. And right behind them, Sea of Roses in the white jacket, Blue Stars, is followed by Midnight Mile in the white sleeves and cap. Restrained Empress Wu, who races on in the green and white hoops on the inside of Soul Sister. And it's Lambada who brings up the rear as they race down past the 7 furlong marker on the far side, about 8 lengths off the speed, Lambada. And the pace is being set by Richard Kingscote here on Infinite Cosmos. Leading by about half a length then, Gather Your Rosebuds is in second on the outside end of Novakai, who continues to hug the inside rail. Sea of Roses is racing close up behind in fourth, followed then by Midnight Mile and Soul Sister, with Empress Wu weighted with, still travelling strongly though, Empress Wu, together with Lambada at the back of the field, who's just about last. Then they're straightening up now for the judge here as they come inside the final 4.5 furlongs of the Tattersalls Musadora, and it's still Infinite Cosmos the leader. Gather Your Rosebuds on the outside, poised to strike. So too is Novakai on the inside there in the hands of Clifford Lee, as Gather Your Rosebuds is now shaken up briefly. They begin to pick up the tempo a bit now. Sea of Roses is travelling well behind these. On the left, Soul Sister and Frankie coming into it as well. And then behind these, Lambada a bit flat-footed. It's Infinite Cosmos continuing to maintain this decent gallop ahead there. Being tackled now by Novakai on the outside, and Soul Sister has jumped into the race with a great turn of foot. And she's led here by 2 lengths approaching the final furlong. It's Soul Sister and Frankie Dettori. This isn't the filly we saw at Newbury. This is a high-class filly who's romping clear here to win the Tattersalls Musadora. Really impressive Soul Sister. Novakai's second, Infinite Cosmos, and Midnight Mile tight for third and fourth.
An emphatic winner of the Tattersalls Musadora Stakes, it's Soul Sister, who has bounced back from her last of 12 run in the Fred Darling behind Remarque, when she stopped very quickly and was probably unsuited by the ground, you would say so, given the way that she zoomed into this race and come well clear of some talented fillies. In second, Novakai, a really good seasonal debut for Clifford Lee and Carl Burke. Infinite Cosmos made the running. She's third for Richard Kingscote and Sir Michael Stout. She probably has taken a step forward. And in fourth on her seasonal debut, Midnight Mile for Sheen Orr and Richard Fahy. 18-1 Soul Sister is returned, and she is 5-1 now for the Betfred Oaks with Skybet. Yeah. Second favourite behind Save the Last Dance. Soul Sister, after an impressive performance. Now her full brother stayed 12 furlongs. She's by Frankel. You'd say that she should have no problem whatsoever with the extra trip, and this has left her previous run well behind.
Yeah, she's improved a massive amount, and better ground for the first time, you assume, has been the catalyst there for this filly, who jumped in, as Mike said in commentary, as though she just joined in really, and she has powered away. And Frankie Dettori's final season, he's managing to find some exciting ammunition, isn't he? And she's a relative of, I think she's got 4 winning siblings who have all rated 100 or higher, and it was there in her pedigree. It wasn't there yet in the form, but she'd looked good first time out at Doncaster. More was clearly expected of her in the Fred Darling. That wasn't her day under those conditions. You can scratch the run, and today, from off the pace, which I think wound up a good way from home, and I think that has helped her. I think it was maybe 3 furlongs out that they threw in a much quicker furlong. I'm sure Angus will analyse that and break the race down in that instance a little bit later on, but that probably allowed her to drag into the race and finish off as impressively as she did.
There were a few of them that were keen in the early stages. The eventual runner-up Novakai is one of them. Sea of Roses is another. The other keen one, Midnight Mile, in the early stages, and the one that refused to settle probably was Empress Wu, who just really took a long time to drop ahead. Meanwhile, Richard Kingscote has gone up front with Infinite Cosmos. Yeah,
he got himself to the lead, and then I think round the bend he was able to steady it and get a nice time of things out in front, but you turn in with a long way to run and the tempo starts to pick up, and she's run a very good race. I don't think there's any obvious excuse for her. she has run very well in a much deeper race than previously. I think Novakai's run very well as well, because as you say, she took a little while to relax in the very early stages of the race as she was tracking through the long-time leader and favourite.
The winner is in the share of second last on the outside there. And you can see that Frankie Dettori is sitting happily, going nice and steadily, just checked slightly in the run by Sea of Rose is edging out to her right. Lambada is under pressure and unable to get involved, but Frankie Dettori eases into the race on the left-hand side and finishes it quite quickly.
Yeah, he covered her up for a long time early in the straight, and then he pulls her out and comes with one sustained run, and now's the point where he's really gone for her. And the response is really impressive and powerful, isn't it? It's a power-packed finish. Thinking about Epsom and the longer distance, it's not going to be a problem for her at all, is it, looking at this and looking at her pedigree?
Absolutely not. You'd be confident about her staying the trip, and the fact that she's able to show this turn of foot over an extended 10 furlongs suggests that she's got the required speed as well. It's not just, it's a combination of the two things that you need.
She looks like it's all there for her to go and make her mark at the highest level, and if you win a trial in that sort of fashion, kind of obvious to say, but she's going to go with a big chance. I think you couldn't really have been more impressed, could you?
No, you couldn't. And she is accounted for two smart fillies, the filly on the right there, runner-up in a Group 1 as a 2-year-old, and of course with the yellow cap there, Infinite Cosmos, who has been tried to be pushed towards the Oaks. The obvious excuse for her, to some degree, if she needs one, she's just finished third in a Group 3, is that the race would have come quite quickly, and maybe they might switch their focus to the Ribblesdale now.
Yeah,
it was a balance of what you try to get, isn't it, with a filly like Infinite Cosmos.
Yeah.
The Musadora comes quickly, but it's worth rolling the dice if you think you've got no filly.
I think they've done the right thing, to be honest, because if she'd have gone to the Oaks without that extra experience and gone straight there, which really was the only feasible alternative apart from running in this, then you're going there with so many unknowns and you're going in really at the deep end, whereas now they've given her a try in this. She wasn't quite up to it on the day, but she's looked comfortable in the race for a long way. She's run a good race at a big step up in grade for her, and you would think that the Ribblesdale is likely to be on her agenda next. It may well be that they still try Epsom, but you would think that they would just take the slower approach from there.
You would do. 5-1 Soul Sister with Betfred, so the same price as Sky Bet for the Betfred Oaks. 9-2 Unibet from 50-1 and from 66-1 Betfred, offering those prices, leaving well behind that run in the Fred Darling. And we can go and join Niall Hannessy, who's with one of the Gosdens. I don't know which one.
Walking back in with the Gosden, they're going to greet Soul Sister, another Tattersall's Musadora. Well done.
Yeah, it's a race we like a lot, and we've had a bundle of luck. Obviously, Thady and I won it last year with a good filly, Emily Upjohn, and look, let's hope this filly can go on to those standards. But she's always been a nice filly, and then we ran her on that heavy, deep ground, and she hated it, but she had to be a nice piece of work and an outing. And she's trained well for this, and Frankie's come specially to ride her for the day, so I'm thrilled for Lady Bamford who bred her.
You've seen her sort of looming up on the outside, 2 furlongs down, like she just jumped in.
Yeah, well, as long as she relaxed, which she did, and I was expecting a big run from her. I will admit, the scale of the winning margin surprised me, but I thought she'd be hard to keep out of the first 3, but she's shown a lot of class there.
If the ground stays, I guess, here, would Epsom be the obvious?
Yes, I mean, the boys are saying it's on the just on the far side of good. So the first time we've had Mayweather with Summer Grant. But she really adored it. She didn't like it last time, as I said, and Epsom would be a strong possibility. We did win this race with Stars Seville for Lady Bamford, who actually then went on to win the Prix Diane, so anything's possible, but I see no reason at the moment. It depends what the jockey says that she wouldn't look to Epsom.
Good, well done, thank you.
Yeah, and you'd imagine the extra distance would be okay for this Frankel filly. Full sister to a proper stare, and also another that won over a mile as a juvenile. 18-1 Soul Sister has scored. Angus more on that shortly, no doubt. Novakai's second, 100-30, and Infinite Cosmos was back in third, 15-8 favourite. 4 lengths, the very comfortable winning distance in the end. Let's have a look at the time. 2:01 outside, 2:10.11. Almost disappointing with that time. Funnily enough, Angus with more on that soon enough, but it's 2:01 outside. That's the slowest comparatively so far. Here's the winning rider.
The Soul Sisters give this man, Frankie Dettori, another Tattersalls Musidora. Well done, that was so sweet.
Yeah, we were all puzzled a bit, but perhaps the ground and 7 furlongs, and it was a point of the year when John's horses all needed a run. But John was pretty confident. He said, I'm not going to run her for no reason. So, but I didn't expect her to do that. No. She travelled quick and twice. Felt really good.
Did it ride a really good trial?
Mine felt good. I don't know about the others.
She'd be a nice ride around Epsom. Did she look really straightforward?
Yeah.
Yeah.